Good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area annual meeting for 2020. I'm Dennis Fry, president of the Heritage Area, which of course includes Frederick County, Washington County, and Carroll counties. And we're coming to you this evening from beautiful, lovely, historic downtown Frederick, Maryland. I want to start this evening with something really special. Usually I don't like numbers. I'm a historian. Numbers and historians typically don't go well together, but you're going to like these numbers. This is what the Heritage Area does for you. This is what the Heritage Area does for us. This is what the Heritage Area does for Carroll, Frederick, and Washington counties. Listen to this, hot off the press. We have created here $450 million that we create in our counties, just our counties, that we generate for our local economy, $450 million. Nearly 6,400 jobs are supported by our Heritage Area through heritage tourism. And we create through our Heritage Area over $60 million in state and local taxes. Think about those numbers. That's impressive. I know it's really hard to relate to numbers like that, these incredible numbers, in the year of COVID, 2020, the year of COVID. Let's face it, this has been a tough year, a difficult year. That's an understatement. We all know that. Our businesses have suffered. We have suffered. We've had to change our lives as a result of this pandemic. But the Heritage Area, realizing this change, has adapted. And we have worked really, really, really hard to bring our partners the very best partnerships possible to allow them to continue to thrive and strive during these very, very turbulent times. And so I'm so excited that this evening, although we can't meet with you as we usually do, we can't bring ourselves together as we typically do, we have asked our partners from Carroll and Washington and Frederick counties, those who have worked with us, who have benefited from us and helped you bring these great numbers to your communities, we've asked them to submit some of their successes. And we want to share some of those successes with you. I hope you enjoy these.
I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner. The Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area plays an important role in Frederick County by helping to preserve the rich history that our community values. The grant opportunities and expertise provided by the Heritage Area help our museums and historic sites to share our heritage with residents and visitors alike. We also benefit from the Heritage Area's perspective in the county's planning processes, including insight on historic preservation for our Livable Frederick Master Plan. The Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area's efforts ensure Frederick County offers an authentic place for people to live and visit.
Hello, I'm Park Ranger Keith Snyder, Chief of Resource Education and Visitor Services here at Antietam National Battlefield. Today I'm standing in front of the historic Newcomer House. And for over 10 years, the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area has operated this facility as a visitor center. We've worked closely together to develop exhibits, waysides, and interpretive programming, clearly demonstrating the power of partnerships as we provide assistance and inspiration to visitors to Western Maryland.
7 nouns illustrate the critical relationship between Catoctin Furnace and Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area staff. Partnerships with Maryland Heritage Areas Authority, Maryland Humanities, Silver Oak Academy, Jack and Jill of America, Maryland State Arts Council, and Arch can be traced to your encouragement, as can the evolution of the Museum of the Iron Worker. These images illustrate some of the myriad ways you have benefited us, particularly in grant support, advice and critique, and networking. This assistance has been particularly helpful during the pandemic.
Hi, I'm Gary Edelman, Chief Historian at the American Battlefield Trust, and I spend a good deal of my time within the confines of the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area. I'm on South Mountain right now at the beautiful Joseph Gaber Farm that the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area has helped us to preserve and restore. We've also not only saved 700 acres on the South Mountain battlefield, but also an additional 400 plus at Antietam, 400 plus at Monocacy, plus 3 at Williamsport, and we work with the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area on a number of things. They send us letters of support. We've hosted more than one event together. We work on videos together. They're a great partner, and that is why we'll continue to work together with the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area.
Hi, we're at the Douglas G. Buss Museum of History and Preservation in Boonesboro, Maryland. Over his lifetime, our good friend Doug Buss has put together a fabulous collection of documents and artifacts that represent what life in Boonesboro was really like during the American Civil War.
Our old oldest artifact is this building. It dates back to 1837.
We are extremely grateful to the Heart of Civil War Heritage Area for supporting its rehabilitation.
Check us out on Facebook and watch our progress.
Welcome to the Carroll County Farm Museum from Jack and Jim, our heritage breed Red Devon oxen team. Jack and Jim are well acquainted with the benefits of being part of the Civil War Heritage Area. Our curator, Scott Holnicker, works the team daily in their new period correct yoke, purchased through Heritage Grant funding. This same grant allowed the museum to get the oxen a covered hay rack to keep their hay fresh and tasty. Jack and Jim invite you to stop by the Farm Museum in Westminster anytime to see Heritage dollars hard at work.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area's annual meeting. I'm Dan Spedden, president of Visit Hagerstown. We are the Hagerstown, Washington County Convention and Visitors Bureau, one of the 3 DMOs that work inside the Heritage Area. One of the things I love the most about our Heritage Area is that it forces us DMOs to work together, to work collaboratively to build up our destination as a preferred destination for travelers. Without the Heritage Area, we would be in our silos and we wouldn't have that much incentive to communicate across lines like we do now. I also love that every couple years we get to partner on a marketing grant. So each county throws in a certain amount of money. We double that money through the Heritage Area, and then we market to the Heritage tourists. So while the Heritage Area is marketing to the Heritage tourists, we're free to pursue other interests. So I love that we have this focus, and I love that we have this collaboration.
Hi, the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area is crucial to our work here at the National Museum of Civil War Medicine. Like sharing our online programming and promoting our walking tours of historic downtown Frederick.
And they help us plant the seeds of great projects, like this medicinal garden at the Pryfield Hospital Museum with their mini grants.
Thanks, Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Don Briggs, Mayor of Emmitsburg.
And I'm Maddie Shaw, the town clerk.
We're inviting you to come see our 7 historic lakeside exhibits at our newly renovated square.
Thanks to grant funding from the Heritage Area on both projects, the public can learn about the Civil War troops marching through Emmitsburg on their way to the Battle of Gettysburg, and also the Great Fire of 1863 that burned down 40 buildings in town and much more.
Come walk our historic paths with us.
Wow, wow. We've had so much success, so much, and we want to thank our partners for sharing those successes with us. Did you realize that we're doing all that here in the Heritage Area? Did you know that? I'm not so sure I even knew all that. But one thing I want to do is, we can't do this by ourselves. One group of partners that I really want to acknowledge that normally we would say thank you to are those elected officials that are there with us this evening, or not even with us this evening. Without the elected officials in our 3 counties, in our municipalities, we would not succeed. We want to thank you for your support. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to the continued support of our elected officials. I want to also thank our board members. You're going to see them here very quickly coming up. These are dedicated, committed, hardworking people that give so much time, so much energy, so much passion, so much wisdom to our successes. You probably know some of these people. They come right out of your communities. We have each one of our counties represented. Carroll, Frederick, Washington counties, equally represented on our board. We're not a big board, we're a tight board, we work hard, and we have new people coming into our board. And so we're very excited about our new board members and our overall board, and they will continue to give you a quality product. And then finally, we have an advisory council that represents people from each one of our counties, 7 in each county, a total of 21. Many of these people have been with us since inception for close to 20 years now, who advise us, who counsel us, who help us to ensure that we are the best performers possible. So to all of you, I want to say thank you, because the Heritage Area isn't a few people, it's all of us together collectively. Well, we're not finished with our successes. We have more to share. Let's take a look.
Hello from Washington County. My name is Jeff Klein, President of the Board of County Commissioners and a native of this great county. Behind me you will see Burnside Bridge. This is just one of over 20 stone arch bridges located in Washington County. This bridge gained lasting fame in 1862 during the Battle of Antietam, when a small force of Confederate soldiers held an entire Union 9th Corps at bay for over 4 hours. Every year, thousands of visitors from all over the world cross the restored 125-foot bridge. By supporting these restoration efforts, the Heritage Area is helping sustain the history of Washington County.
Hello, I'm David Key, President of ARCH, the African American Resources and Cultural Heritage, an organization devoted to preserving and sharing the history and culture of African Americans in Frederick County, Maryland. With help from the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, we are well underway with our plans developing the Heritage Center here at 125 East St. Street in downtown Frederick to provide a space for exhibits, research, and to facilitate open conversation about critical issues of our past that continues to influence the way we live today. ARCH welcomes you to join us in sharing the truth of our history in its wholeness. Please visit us at archsociety.org and on social media.
Hi, I'm Abby Ricketts. I'm the chairperson of the Canal Towns Partnership. A mini heritage grant from the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area enabled us to produce these Trail to History brochures, which will assist our visitors in learning all about our 10 towns along the C&O canals of Civil War history. We thank you, Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area.
Hi, I'm Judy Morley with the Carroll County Arts Council, and I just want to thank the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area for making it possible for me to stand in our newly renovated theater. We just finished it last night. We are excited to be able to reopen this weekend to have programming in it again, and thanks to the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, we've been able to restore it to its 1920s glory and to up-level it so that we can include more diversity in our programming. Thank you so much, Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area.
Waters July 14, 1863 battlefield near Williamsport is the site of the final battle of the Gettysburg Campaign in Maryland. The Battle of Falling Waters 1863 Foundation's mission is to save, preserve, and interpret the battlefield. Utilizing grants from the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, we've been able to develop and print brochures, create and plan for guest parking area, and launch and interpret signage.
Few cities which predate the founding of our nation itself can boast the legacy of the colonial homestead home of its founding father, like we do here at the Jonathan Hager House Museum. Thanks to support from the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, we're able to impact more visitors as we expand our outdoor interpretive wayside exhibit narrative along our existing walking and biking trail, so we can share our rich history with visitors whenever they may come.
Hello, my name is Andrea Chapdelaine, president of Hood College. Hood was fortunate to be awarded a Maryland Heritage Area Authority grant to adapt the Williams Observatory to be used as the Hood Museum and Visitor Center.
Hi, I'm Jay Harrison, Associate Professor of History and the Chair of the Department of History here at Hood College. This project is significant for telling the story of the race to build telescopes just before and then in the 50 years after the Civil War. Moving the Hood History Museum to the Williams Observatory coincides with this 100-year anniversary, and it provides easy access to the public right here off of 7th Street in Frederick.
Hello from Federated Charities in Frederick, Maryland, where space matters. We lovingly refer to our building as a pile of bricks, and it literally is, along with the dog statue that normally is standing on this front portico, dating to the mid-1800s. Our space is a part of the streetscape and the heritage of our community celebrated by the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, who's also one of the tenants in our nonprofit center. As stewards of this historic property, our partnership with them has introduced us to conservationists and other professionals who make sure that the roof stays up, the statue gets fixed, and the history of charitable work in this community is preserved for future generations. We hope you have a wonderful conference in 2020 and that you remember that our spaces are part of who we are and where we go from here. Have a great event.
Hello, welcome to Newmarket. I'm Mayor Winslow Burhans.
And I'm Jake Romanell, Vice President to Town Council.
A Heritage Area grant helped us fund a groundbreaking study that helped us identify themes and opportunities that highlight Newmarket's special character.
So come check out our new features and exhibits that'll bring new visitors to Newmarket.
Come visit Newmarket.
A big shout out from the Washington County Historical Society to Liz and to Rachel and to Emily for all of your support over the years. The Historical Society, located at the Miller House in Hagerstown, Maryland, is so thankful for your generous support, for your help with the platform lift, advertising all of our activities, to the suffrage program, where you helped with the suffrage program, and helping with our collections. Been always helpful whenever we need anything for our grants or for support. We thank you and we appreciate everything that you do.
More great successes. I mean, I hope you're feeling as good about what we've accomplished or what our partners have accomplished, more so, in 2020 and some of the years previous to us. You know, we build year after year. People now know who we are. People now know what we offer. People know that we give money. We give out lots of money to our partners to allow them through wonderful grants that come from our state friends through the Maryland Heritage Authority. We are permitted to do so many things that we couldn't do otherwise. But let me tell you something. There's a person that makes all this possible, that coordinates all this and allows us to exist. It's not me. I mean, this is a big job and I'm a volunteer, but we do have a CEO, and I'd like to introduce you to her, Liz Chateau. Now, before Liz comes on, I can't give you enough praise about Liz. Liz is one of the most dedicated, hardworking executives I've ever been around. I have a lot of experience with nonprofits, and Liz knows how to run this nonprofit. She knows how to make quality contacts. She keeps our partners well informed all the time. She's there to answer questions, to provide assistance. She works all the time. In fact, I've had to scold her to put the phone down, stop looking at email, take some time off. She works so hard for you to ensure the success of the Heritage area. And we are so fortunate and so proud to have her as part of the Heart of the Civil War. So I'd like to introduce you to our Executive Director, Liz Chateau.
Thank you, Dennis. I know our hearts are in this heritage area, and we are both grateful that strong relationships were in place with our partners when it came time to help them navigate the challenges of 2020.
As a native Frederictonian, I want to be sure to wish the city of Frederick a happy 275th anniversary. The commemorations aren't unfolding as originally expected, but we can all join the ongoing story. Here are two partners we have worked with in different capacities since the earliest days of the Heritage area. They are now serving on the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority. Thurmont Mayor John Kinnaird has just begun to represent the Maryland Municipal League on the authority, and Dan Spedden is wrapping up his first year representing the Tourism Development Board. It is a privilege that two of our Heritage Area partners serve on the authority. It takes a great team to keep the heart of our Heritage Area pumping. Our Assistant Director, Emily Hubner, and our Washington County Assistant, Rachel Nichols, who also manages our Visitor Center at the Newcomer House, are well known to many of you. If your organization received a grant, beneficial promotions, worthwhile advice, or a boost to your education program, more than likely you have Emily or Rachel to thank for playing a hands-on role. I'm particularly proud of our team's response to needs expressed by local organizations as a result of what is sometimes described as a dual pandemic of COVID-19 and racial injustice. We know that we had a distinct role in bringing at least $500,000 in emergency operating funds to local nonprofits, and this figure is conservative. It does not include grants to organizations that didn't require our involvement and didn't learn about the opportunities through our communications. Our founders were wise to name Shadows of War, Reverberations of the Civil War that continue today, as one of our primary themes. In late spring, A statement from our board came quickly as people took to the streets in response to concerns about racial injustice. And you can see an excerpt here. It's more than a statement. It's a call to action for ourselves and our partners. One of our actions was to produce a webinar on the role of heritage areas in meeting community needs related to race and unrest. Hundreds joined the session, and we're now discerning the best path for follow-up. We also produced a series of video conversations to help our visitors serving organizations plan for phased reopening. History is the #1 draw for travelers to our area. So, as a heritage tourism program, it was important for us to provide a forum for our partners. With help from local, state, and national experts, our museums, historic sites, arts organizations, and even some historic houses of worship got critical advice on such questions as, what cleaning and disinfecting techniques and solutions can we safely apply to high-touch surfaces such as historic banisters and historic door hardware? Many of our partners have since opened, and some have plans for a slower transition. As you see here, at the Newcomer House, we have shifted all of our services to the porch with limited hours, and we're grateful to a small group of docents without whom this would not be possible. They are reporting strong numbers for the season. I happened to be on hand when the Marines you see here paid a visit from their base in Northern Virginia. The docent took time to share where to have a great lunch and inspire them to plan to come back again for a longer visit. Soon you'll receive an annual report with all the details about our achievements in fiscal year 2020, which began July 1st, 2019. You can read that at your leisure. However, I will note that soon after the year began, the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority approved Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area grants totaling nearly $1 million, our highest yield ever for nonprofits and government entities in Carroll, Frederick, and Washington counties. That year, we also awarded $25,000 in mini grants, a program that Emily Hubner administers for us. Of course, much of fiscal year 20 was spent working closely with Heritage Area grant applicants submitting for fiscal year 21 funding. And once again, the results were strong.
We've been listening to stories of grant-funded projects throughout the evening. The best is yet to come. Just watch and listen.
Hi, I'm Carroll County Commissioner Stephen Wance, bringing you greetings today from beautiful Carroll County, where we are proud to be part of the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area. Many of Carroll's lush agricultural landscapes appear much as they did in 1863, when troops marched to and from the Battle of Gettysburg. The Heritage Area helps our museums, including our crown jewel, the Carroll County Farm Museum, which is now entirely in the Maryland Heritage Area. Our cultural organizations and municipalities bring local stories and traditions to life for visitors who then linger to enjoy our orchards, fine restaurants, craft beverage houses, wineries, and specialty shops. Come taste and see all that makes Carroll County a special part of the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area.
Hi, I'm Robin Zanotti, and I am at the Cushwa Basin at the C&O Canal. I'm president of the C&O Canal Trust. We're a friends group of the park. I'm very pleased to be here today to say thank you to one of our most important funders, you. We have had the great pleasure of being able to use funding to create our C&O Canal Explorer app, which is cataloging 600 points of interest within the park. This allows visitors to explore new areas as well as learn more about the history of the park. But in addition, it's allowed us to really expand our community engagement with the park and increase our philanthropic support of the park that helps us to preserve and protect it. So from all of us at the C&O Canal Trust, thank you.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is James Castle, president of the Brunswick Heritage Museum, and I would like to take a moment to thank the Civil War Heritage Area for funding that allowed us to hire an architect to bring the historic Redmond's building in Brunswick, Maryland, which now houses the Brunswick Heritage Museum, back to its 1915 facade. Without that funding, we would have not had possibly enough total money to complete the project, and we certainly do appreciate the Maryland Heritage Area's authority, specifically through the Civil War Heritage Area Authority for their funding assistance. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Reggie Turner, and I'm the president of the Western Maryland Community Development Corporation.
And I'm Terrence Moore, vice chair of the Western Maryland Community Development Corporation. And on behalf of our board, Scott Guillory, Mitchell Branch, and Kenyatta Mason, we'd like to thank the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area for the support of our mission to revitalize and to preserve the historic Jonathan Street community.
Our community work in the Jonathan Street community began with a simple phone call to Executive Director Elizabeth Chateau. And now we are preserving a 180-year-old log cabin right here in the historic Jonathan Street community.
Hello and welcome to the Union Mills Homestead in beautiful Carroll County, Maryland. I am Melinda Setron, the Homestead Site Manager, and I want to thank the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area for its contribution to one of our successes this past year, our new website at unionmills.org. This project was funded by a mini grant from the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area and has contributed to our ability to better interpret the site and also invite potential visitors. Check out our new website and please come visit us.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hall, Director of the Washington County Museum of Fine Arts, and I'm here to say thank you to the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area for years of support, allowing us to accomplish a variety of mission-based projects, including publications, exhibitions, and related educational programs. This year, they helped us meet the challenges caused by the pandemic. I'm standing in front of these two compelling portraits by the artist Joshua Johnson. Recently, the Heritage Area supported our American Narratives project, which helped us to refurbish this gallery and to reinstall these important portraits. Johnson's story is significant and not as well known as it should be. He's often identified as the first documented African-American professional artist. His work is going to take center stage this spring in an exhibition we've organized of more than 20 examples. The Heritage Area is helping us to tell his story.
Hello. I'm John Healy, the Executive Theater Manager of the historic Weinberg Center for the Arts, and I just want to thank the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area for bringing so many folks to visit the historic sites who then come to the Weinberg Center for the Arts to see a show. Also want to thank the Maryland Heritage Area Authority for providing a grant that's going to go towards our brand new historic marquee. Have a good time.
Hello from Westminster. I'm Kathy Beatty, Curator at the Historical Society of Carroll County. We're proud to be the guardians of three of the oldest surviving buildings in Westminster. Thanks to a Heritage Area grant, we were able to restore the facade of the oldest of our buildings, the Kimmy House, by replacing aluminum storm windows with new energy-efficient interior panels and installing new shutters that replicate the historic shutters. This project was not only important for the preservation of the building, but also contributes to the character of Westminster's Main Street for visitors and residents.
Hi, I'm Zunny Miller Matima, a Friends of Tolson's Chapel board member. Today, I'm dressed as Nancy Campbell. Nancy was a member of Tolson's Chapel. Now, during the school year, we present programs right here on site in the chapel with Nancy greeting the students. It seems that with everything that's happening, we have learned from our experiences and we have robust learning experiences now online. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because of a Museum Education Initiative grant from the Heritage Area, and we are very thankful. So, we invite you to come back because our programs are going to bring social justice issues into a marriage with Tolson's Chapel history. So, stay tuned.
Greetings from historic Rocky Springs Schoolhouse, which served as a Frederick County public school from 1839 to 1930. I'm Debbie Moon, President of the Board of Trustees of Historic Rocky Springs Chapel, the all-volunteer nonprofit organization that owns and manages the school. By supporting, through grants, our Phase 1 Schoolhouse Stabilization Project and the design, fabrication, and installation of a Civil War Trails marker, the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area is helping to preserve this historic building and tell the long-forgotten story of a Civil War cavalry skirmish that occurred on the grounds of Rocky Springs Schoolhouse the day before the Battle of Monocacy. You can visit the Civil War Trails marker, pick up an interpretive flyer that tells the history of the schoolhouse, and visit the exterior of the historic stone school anytime.
I hope you celebrate these successes as much as we do. I mean, really, what incredible partners we have. Thank you all, and thank you for what you do for your communities. And even more, I want to especially thank you for all that you've done this year, this troubling year, to bring us smiles, to bring us good feeling, and to make yourself feel good too through accomplishment. It's been tough, but after we see these videos, I feel uplifted. I feel really good about what we've done in our 3 counties. So thank all of you for sharing this with me. Well, here we are in beautiful Frederick this evening. As you can hear, the church bells are beginning to clang in the background. And we're here because Frederick County is our host this year. Each year we move our annual meeting from county to county. So last year we were in Carroll County, this year Frederick County, next year we'll be back in my home county, Washington County. Well, I'd like to introduce you to a very, very special Frederick Countyan. Most of you know him. Even if you don't live in Frederick County, you know this person. He is renowned, and I'm sure he's embarrassed that I just referred to him that way, but he is quite renowned. John Fiesler. John is a really close friend of mine. In fact, John and I had the privilege of being co-founders of this organization almost 20 years ago now. We were not the first heritage area in Maryland, but we were among the earliest. And John is about to go off of our board, but many of you know John also as the executive officer, the chief executive officer of Visit Frederick. He's done so much for tourism here in this community, done so much to promote Frederick County, loves Frederick County. And so we're happy to have John this evening as our moderator for our special guest. For those of you who are veterans of our programs, we actually like to have a program each year where we bring in a guest who can share something with us about heritage tourism, something unique, something that we really enjoy, something that teaches us a lot. Well, tonight we have a very special guest, Jen Ruffner, who is the administrator of the Maryland Heritage Area Authority. Remember all those numbers I gave you earlier? Well, Jen and the Maryland Heritage Area Authority are responsible for doing the economic impact analysis that gave us those numbers. Thank you, Jen. We like those numbers. And let me say something more. Jen would not have her job, and we would not have ours if it weren't for our elected officials at the state level and the governor who support the heritage areas throughout the state. We are one of 13 heritage areas, but I want to thank our state legislators and the governor for giving us the opportunity to succeed, for giving us the opportunity to do this. Economic development through heritage tourism. That's what we are, and we want to thank our state elected officials for giving us these opportunities to succeed. So John, Jen, what do you have to say this evening?
Well, thank you, Dennis, and good evening, Jen, and thanks for joining us for this virtual annual meeting.
Thanks for having me.
Do want to let those participating know that if they have questions, they can just use the comments to submit them, anything that we don't get to in our discussion. But as we begin our discussion, I'm reminded of the first time I ever heard about the economic impact of heritage travel. Because all the way back to 1997, it was the annual meeting of the Tourism Council of Frederick County, today doing business as Visit Frederick. I didn't even work there yet. It was shortly before I started, but the speaker at that meeting was none other than Liz Chateau in her previous role as coordinator of the Frederick Historic Sites Consortium. And Liz shared the results of what was really the first big national study of the impact of heritage and cultural travel. The Travel Industry Association, TIA as it was known then, it's US Travel Today, had commissioned this study, and they looked at the impact that the people who make visiting historic sites have on the economy of so many communities and of our country. And it really opened a lot of eyes to the value of that. So there are lots of good reasons to promote heritage tourism, lots of good reasons to do historic preservation, but being able to demonstrate the economic benefit certainly got the attention of a lot of folks. Now, Maryland was already on this. The program that you administer today, the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority, actually had just gotten started at about that same time. So I think one of the things we should probably begin with is that some of our participants may know Liz and Emily and the work of the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, but might not recognize that it's part of a larger statewide system, which you administer. If I remember right, you've been with MHAA now for over a decade and actually administrator of it for what, the last 3 years or so?
Yep, exactly.
So maybe you can tell us what the program is all about. You're actually part of a larger state department, right?
That's right. So the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority is actually an independent state entity that falls within the Maryland Department of Planning, and it oversees the Heritage Areas program, which, as you noted, got started in 1996, so right about the time that those studies were happening. And that start actually followed the creation of our first heritage area, Canal Place, which was actually created in 1993. So they were sort of the forefront of the movement in Maryland. And that was such a success that we decided to make it a statewide program. So that's been over the past years, we have expanded from that first heritage area to a total of 13 certified heritage areas across the state, and they touch every county and the city of Baltimore in Maryland. So the authority oversees that whole program, and then at the local level, each of those 13 heritage areas has their own management entity. So Heart of Civil War, obviously, it's Liz and Emily oversee that, but each of the 13 heritage areas also has that local management entity that oversees them. So we work in partnership with the local heritage areas, because the program, as it was designed, was meant to be a local designated state certified program. So we start with the local level and work up to the state level.
And there's an entire process to get certified. It's actually a couple of steps. You have to be recognized first. And then at some point, it could be a couple of years, it could be many years. They finally get finished and get certified by the authority. And at that point, they're one of the collection, right?
That's correct. And so if your project or site is located within the boundaries of a certified heritage area, that then enables you to experience all the benefits of the program, most particularly the grants, which is our biggest program. But we also have loans, and there are special benefits with the preservation tax credit program. So yes, that certification process is really critical. And in that process, each heritage area creates their own management plan, which spells out the goals and objectives of the heritage area, the themes. Heart of the Civil War obviously has a very sort of focused set of themes, whereas some of the other heritage areas have much broader themes. But all of that is set forth in that certification document that's created at the time of certification.
So when this program was pitched to the Maryland legislature back in the 1990s, Cass Taylor was Speaker of the House back then, and certainly a champion for the Canal Place project out in Cumberland. But the idea was that there would be economic return to the state, that this would help raise money for state coffers as well as local coffers, as well as drive a lot of money into the local economies. And so from time to time, you're asked to demonstrate what is the return on the state's investment in the program, right?
That's correct. And it's something that we have not done that frequently with the program, actually. The first time we did it was actually in 2003, and at that time we took a look at the impact of 7 heritage areas. Not all 13 were certified at that time, and only 7 had been in existence long enough for there to be sufficient data to do an economic impact study. So it has been quite some time since we did sort of a full look at the program, and we've never done a study that looks at the full suite of 13 heritage areas across the state. So we were overdue to undertake this process again.
I think you're going to be able to give us a little bit of a sneak peek of the results of the study as it affects our local heritage area, right?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you a little bit about how this study was undertaken. It's a little bit different than anything we've done in the past. The 2003 study that we did was very narrowly focused on the economic impact of the grants, and we did a quick update of that in 2018, again looking pretty closely at the impact of the grant money in particular rather than the broader program. So we knew that we wanted to go beyond just the grant dollars and see the impact of the whole program. So the work that's done at the local level by each of the management entities and all of those qualitative, non-tangible, not necessarily dollar related impacts as well. So we hired the firm Parker Phillips to help us with this study because this was something we'd never done before. And so it had a couple different parts. In the summer and fall of 2019, Parker Phillips came to Maryland. They went to all kinds of events and sites across the state and did visitor surveys. And in those surveys, they talked to the heritage travelers that they were encountering, found out how much money they were spending, how long they were staying, where they came from, all of that great information that we just have never really been able to collect simply because we didn't have the means to do it. And so they took that data and they were able to build visitor profiles for each heritage area, because of course, Baltimore is going to be different than Washington County is going to be different than Charles County is going to be different than Queen Anne's County. So, you know, each heritage area and the counties that they encompass are going to have these different levels of spending, different types of visitors. And so we really wanted to be able to capture that information. So they got that information in the surveys and created those visitor profiles for the day visitor and the overnight traveler, because of course overnight travelers spend more money than the day visitors. So it's really important to make that distinction and to see what percentage of your visitors are day or overnight. So they did the surveys. The next piece was they actually created a visitor number for each heritage area. And that sounds like something that should be really easy to do, but because each heritage area has a boundary that is invisible to the visitor themselves and is not following traditional jurisdictional boundaries, for example. It's not the county boundary. It's not necessarily any particular jurisdiction. Some of our heritage areas are what we call roads and nodes. So it's a distance on either side of a road with little nodes at the different communities. So it's really hard to find an existing number that falls within the boundaries as they've been drawn for each heritage area. So the way the consultants went about this was they identified the key heritage sites and events in each of the heritage areas and got visitation numbers for those and calculated that based on that. And sometimes they took percentages if it was something that was sort of heritage tourism, which could be history, cultural, and natural resources adjacent. They would take a percentage of that. So we really were creating a number that reflected heritage tourists. So once they got that number, and we're actually still finalizing those numbers for some of the heritage areas because it actually is quite difficult to do and is something that hasn't been done before for Maryland. Once they have those numbers, they take that and the visitor profiles and they put it into what's called an in-plan model, which is an algorithm. And I am not an economist, I am not a statistician, I can't explain how it works, but they put in the numbers and out comes the magic. And so that's where we're getting the numbers for the different heritage areas. And certainly for Heart of the Civil War, the numbers are really great. The numbers are great for the whole program, but the numbers are great for Heart of the Civil War as well. And I can share a few of those with you, but I have to check because I want to make sure that I'm getting them right for you. So, based on the numbers that the consultant came up with for Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area, they found that there was more than $450.2 million of economic impact annually because of the heritage area. And that's really tremendous. I mean, that really shows that the collection of heritage resources in the heritage area are a tremendous economic driver for the 3 counties. And that's at both the local and the state level. So that's really important. Another really great number is that the heritage area supports 6,376 jobs. So those are really strong numbers, and it really is important to allow us to demonstrate the value of the program.
Well, I know that particularly being part of the State Department of Planning, that the folks in that department are used to being grilled or getting skepticism from state budget analysts, because it's their job to try to pick apart things like this. So it sounds like it was very thorough. If folks haven't thought about it, it's hard to even answer a question sometimes relating to a specific municipality, if, say, the zip code for that municipality extends beyond it, let alone something as discrete as our heritage area boundaries. I know that certainly for the county governments involved, when it came time to map these things, again, it's not like you just, you pick a field off of a database and say, oh yeah, it applies to this. It's like it had to be created. So it sounds like they were very precise in defining the area and anticipating where folks that are skeptical about economic impact reports might have questions, right?
Absolutely. And we wanted this to be very defensible. We wanted to be able to explain, because you're absolutely right. There are always going to be those questions of, well, where did this number come from? How can you say that this is specifically the heritage area and not any of the other programs that we have? And as an aside, I think I would love to see us also do a study where we look at all the overlapping designations that are across the state, because I think that economic impact is only amplified the more designations that you have. But we did want to be able to say this is heritage area impact. And some of it is very definitively heritage area impact because it is the grant funds, it's the funds coming from the operating of the management entities, it's from my staff and my time and the resources at the state level. So that is very distinctive. It's when you get out to those larger visitor numbers and the visitor impact. So we really wanted to take our time and make sure that we were counting the right numbers and including the right information, that we could defend those numbers when we're asked.
You mentioned the grant program. I'm guessing that a lot of people participating in our meeting today are familiar with MHAA grants. But in case anyone's not, maybe talk a little bit about that direct impact and what the relationship is. Like Liz and Emily don't work for you. They don't work for the state. They work for a local board of directors made up of representatives of our 3 counties. How that whole mechanism works so that the funds that the legislature appropriate are able to be directed to the best places, the best projects.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. So each management entity is independent. Many of them are nonprofits, as they are here in the heart of Civil War. Some are government entities, but they do operate independently from the state agency. So we at the state level receive an appropriation annually. In past years, it's been $6 million. That was up from $3 million annually, which went up due largely to the hard work of all the different heritage area directors to make that change happen and to convince the legislators that it was valuable to do that. And now we have the economic data to prove that. So when we get grant funds, 5.1 of that, 5.1 million of that appropriation, if we get the full appropriation, is available for grants. The way it works is some of those funds go directly to the heritage areas. They are eligible to apply for management grants that fund their operations, and they are also eligible for marketing and mini grant awards from the state level. And so those mini grants go directly to the local heritage area, and they then can grant them out in small amounts to their partner organizations. So that's one arm of the grant. So those grants come directly from Heart of the Civil War. We also have our state level grants, and our fiscal year 22 grant round is coming up quickly. Those materials will be released in December. And those can fund both capital and non-capital projects, $100,000 projects for capital and $50,000 projects for non-capital. We do require a one-to-one match, but in an exciting change this year, the Heritage Areas Authority in July approved removing any requirement for cash match. So you can match your state grant with any combination of cash or in-kind non-state support. And we're really excited about that because we think that will make it a lot easier for folks to apply for our funds. So then what we do is those applications come in and they are reviewed first at the local level. So the Heart of the Civil War will review all of the applications that come in for their heritage area. They will rank those and make recommendations to us at the state. And then we at the state have a grants review panel that is made up of community members. It's a 20-member panel right now. And they review all the grants across the state and review and rank them. And that's combined with the local rankings for a final overall ranking to determine who gets funded. So it really is a very close partnership with the local heritage areas and the state program to get those grants out.
I think you've given us a peek into what's coming next with the program. You know, it seems like the timing of this was really amazing in light of the impact and still unknown impact of COVID on the state budget. You know, I was going to ask you why a study like your and when will it be fully released, the economic impact study?
We are putting the final touches on it, but I hope in the coming month we'll have the full report released. And I agree that the timing is great. We did most of the research just before COVID hit. So it really allows us to take a look at the economic impact of these sites that are being impacted so heavily by the pandemic, which of course is ongoing. And I think can really demonstrate why it's going to be critical that we continue to support our stakeholder partners as they get back up and running, as they reopen in a new reality, as they adjust what they're doing to reflect the new reality, whether it's more online offerings or PPE at the sites or, you know, extra cleaning protocols. All of those kind of things are going to be really critical and are going to cost money. So we need to make sure that our sites are visitor ready when they are able to fully reopen so that we can immediately begin generating some of this economic impact again. And, you know, as a program, we've tried to help as much as we can, and we were actually able to give out some emergency operating assistance grants in the summer to 59 different organizations to help sort of get them over the hump of the initial closures. And we'll be looking at ways that we can continue to help our partner organizations as well, because we see how critical it is, and we wouldn't have a program if we didn't have our stakeholders, for sure.
Well, certainly when it comes to defending the budget request for the fiscal 22 budget, it seems like the timing of this report is really perfect for that. And then, as you mentioned, the additional flexibility for those entities trying to come up with a match for these grants. Again, good timing for them if their local dollars are going to be stretched because their doors haven't been open or their donors, you know, have backed away or whatever it might be, to be able to give them that extra flexibility. So, you know, again, how fortunate for that. But anything you want to add before we wrap up, Jen?
I mean, I think we covered a lot, and I'm certainly glad to be able to share this with you, and I'm excited to be able to share the full report with everybody when it comes out. It will show the impact of the whole program overall, and it's going to be a pretty impressive number. And in the meantime, I'm glad you're able to take a sneak peek at the Heart of the Civil War report, and certainly we look forward to seeing applications from folks in our fiscal year 22 grant round.
Jen Ruffner, Administrator of the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority, thanks for the sneak peek and thanks for joining us at our virtual meeting.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're just about at the end of this evening's program. What a celebration. What a celebration. We don't hear that word very often this particular year, but we have much to celebrate. And I, as president, have benefited from the celebration and all the hard work and dedication of all of you. Thank you. My time as president has come to an end, and my time as a board member has come to an end. For the first time since our creation, I won't be in a leadership role with the organization, but I intend to continue to support in any way, every way that I can. Well, you notice this, the bugle, and I actually should have white gloves on because this bugle is a real artifact. This is a Civil War bugle, not Civil War era. This is an actual bugle from the Civil War. We have a tradition with the heart of the Civil War heritage area, and that is we like to pass the bugle on to our next president. And I wish to do that. Our next president, Kristen McMasters from Carroll County, our first woman president of the organization, will be taking over momentarily. And she'll introduce herself. I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy that she'll be our new president. I know that she'll do a great job with the board, and I know our partners will enjoy working with Kristen. She'll be terrific. We're in good hands with Kristen and Liz and our board. And so with that, I want to present this bugle to my friend and a passionate, dedicated preservationist and historian and archaeologist by trade, Kristen McMasters.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you for your service that stems back to the end of last century when you and John Fiesler and others, now regarded as founders, first envisioned the heritage area. We've come a long way, Dennis, and flourish under your leadership. Please accept our deep appreciation for all that you have done to establish and nurture this heritage area to maturity. Thank you. I'm here at the Historical Society of Carroll County in the backyard of the Sherman Shellman House, in the vicinity of where the soldiers rested after the Battle of Corbett's Charge in 1863. I hope that you've been inspired by the stories shared tonight and that you will be part of our future successes. In September, I challenged the board to match my gift to the heritage area of $5,000, and they rose to the occasion. Now we need our community members, business, and individuals to match the board's $10,000 with their gifts for 2020. For those who act quickly, we can award community investment tax credits that will return 50% on the value of eligible gifts. The state has given us a limited number of tax credits, so be first in line. Our director, Liz Chateau, is eager to discuss that option with you. Annual appeal information is on its way, and you're always welcome to make a gift through our PayPal on our website at heartofthecivilwar.org. I hope you will be generous so we can continue to serve our community and help with the economic recovery that is so urgently needed. Thank you to our virtual hosts in Frederick County, to the Carroll Media Center, and to the Heritage Area team members, Emily Hubner and Rachel Nichols, who were the wizards behind the curtain tonight. Most of all, thank you to John Fiesler, Jen Ruffner, and our partners who shared their impact stories. I wish you all health and happy adventures in history in the coming year. Thank you. Good night.